You're listening to The Power Project. I'm your host, Brandy Voth. I also like to think that I'm your guide along this journey of purpose, which is where you will hopefully end up at the end of this podcast. I'm a mom, a wife, a daughter, a friend, an entrepreneur, an advocate in the fight against human trafficking. I wear a lot of hats, y'all, but don't we all? And most importantly, I am passionate about inspiring women to go out and lead purpose-filled lives while owning your God-given power. Without further ado, let's jump right in. Welcome back to the Power Project. I want to speak about something today that has been on my heart, and it's not something that I typically talk a lot about on this podcast. As you all know, my husband and I are serial entrepreneurs, meaning that we have multiple businesses. We have businesses in both the traditional sense as well as the non-traditional sense. And that spans from manufacturing to petroleum production, social enterprise hat company, the podcast, the books. And then I also have a virtual skincare franchise that I've had for about 4 years at this point. And it's been a really big blessing in those past 4 years, but it may have never been as big of a blessing as it is right now. I've been able to have the liberty of working this business from the comfort of my home. My team, which spans all across the United States and across Australia, they've had the liberty of working this business from their home. Our customers have been able to order products straight from our website without ever leaving their house, and the products are shipped directly to their house. Literally, you guys, I feel such a sense of blessing about this right now. And I've had a lot of people reach out that are in other companies with the same type of business model as mine, saying, my gosh, I'm so grateful for this right now. I'm so grateful for this additional income stream. You guys, one of my team members spent 4 days in the hospital last month fighting for her health, fighting for her life, and literally received a paycheck while being in the hospital. She spent half of the month of March trying to recover from this sickness and still received a paycheck. And it's because of the work that she had put in before all of this happened. I know a lot of you are sitting at home right now trying to figure out, how do we navigate this new situation that we find ourselves in? How do we adapt, and how do we earn income for our family while we've been laid off and we've lost hours? And how do we work from home? How do we take our products that we used to sell in a storefront and sell them from home? I've been doing this for several years. So has a lot of my team. And something I want to share with you guys is, when all of this came down, I discussed this in one of the previous episodes in the past month. When all of this came down, 3 of our main businesses took a direct hit within a 48-hour time frame. My husband and I went into the phase of, what do we have that we can continue working the way it's been working? Because several of our businesses have been impacted really strong. And I had this business that I have built, this team, this sales team that is a global sales team that I've built, that I'm still able to bring that income in every single month, thanks to the work that I've put in. And this opportunity is available to anyone. Literally, if you are in the US or Australia or Canada, soon to be Japan, this opportunity is here for you. And I just want to share a little about my team. I wanted you guys to see who is on this global sales team of mine. I want you to see some of the people that I'm in business with, because I feel like for me not to share this with you, my listeners, and my network at this point would be a really selfish thing on my part, because so many people are looking for answers that I happen to know about with this business model. I know that when everything happened the second week of March, and I began analyzing all of the economic shifts and predictions for the future, and where we were going from here, and the concerns about economic downturns and possible recessions. And I started researching, what are my What are my recession-proof industries? And P.S., spoiler alert, my husband and I do not own a lot of recession-proof businesses. This one, people are still washing their face. People are still purchasing products from me in the midst of all of this uncertainty. To the tune of the month of March looked like tens of thousands of dollars of skincare product. Like tens of thousands of dollars of skincare products were purchased online and shipped to customers of my organization. In the midst of that research that week, when I was evaluating our businesses, I was also evaluating this health crisis, this impending crisis that was coming. I was looking at some articles online, and I had found one where this was like March 10th, I believe. The U.S. Surgeon General Jerome Adams had said that the U.S. was no longer in a place of prevention, but was in a place where we were shifting to a mitigation phase. And that meant that communities will see more cases, and they would need to make it more feasible for employees to work from home. And that is going to be different in Seattle than what is going to be available in Jackson, Mississippi, he said. This was on CNN's State of the Union. And as I was reading that, the depth of it hit me. And I thought, my team that is in 17 different states in the U.S., it doesn't matter if they are in rural U.S. or the bush in Australia, or if they are in one of the cities in the United States, they all work this business the exact same. So I want to share with you guys some of the people that I'm in business with. The world as we know it has changed. Across the globe, we find ourselves in uncharted territory. Life is no longer business as usual.
But I see it in you, so we gon' walk it out. Move mountains. We gon' walk it out and move.
We have endured stay-home orders, shelter-in-place, non-essential business shutdowns, layoffs, loss of income, unemployment, fought to save others, and fought for our own health from hospital beds. We are all navigating the new normal in the best way we know how.
And I do it 1,000 times again.
We are teachers, school administrators,
the silence is quiet.
dentists, nurses, and frontline providers.
But I promise we'll take the world to its
We are business owners. We are essential workers.
Mountains. And I'll rise up, I'll rise like the day. I'll rise up, I'll rise unafraid. I'll rise up.
And non-essential workers.
Times again.
We span across Texas to Tennessee, New Mexico to Florida, Wyoming to Queensland, Victoria to South Australia, and New South Wales. Brought together by a global business, we stand together in a global crisis. This is our team. This is team power. We will continue to make an impact while making an income. And together, we will get through this.
I'll rise up, rise like the day.
If you are experiencing economic hardship, Team Power would like to show you how you too can make an impact while making an income.
And we'll rise up. I like the waves. We'll rise up. In spite of the ache, we'll rise up. And we'll do it 1,000 times again.
Hey guys, I am here today with one of my dear friends, and I know that I call a lot of people my friends on this show, and I do. I have friends on social media, I have friends in real life, but this one is one of my really, really good girlfriends. I love her to death. She is an absolute ray of sunshine to every room that she sets foot in. So this is my friend, Charla Corn Barrett. She is a mom, she's an entrepreneur, and she has a background in music and radio. Hey, Charla, how are you?
Girl, oh my goodness. When is this thing over so we can get belly to belly again? I'm so tired of the isolation.
I know. I really, really miss your face. Like, I miss your face more than just the Zoom calls that we've been on. Like, I want to hang out. I want to hug you and just lounge around together and do life together in person. I mean, goodness, you're a person that is pretty accustomed to having a lot of people around in this business that you and I are in together. How has that been, that process of really being at home with you and your husband and your kids?
You know, it's really crazy. I feel like through all of this, I honestly have connected even more with people I wouldn't normally see because, our business runs on Zoom meetings and conference calls and, reaching out and making those personal connections. So actually not much has really changed in my world. If anything, there's been more connections made during this time.
Do you know what I've found myself doing more that I have not done in years? It is talking on the telephone to my friends.
Oh, for sure. Yes. Because that's the thing. Like, you feel so isolated. You just want to hear someone's voice and make sure that they're alive. I've talked more with my family too. Like, I'm one of 4 siblings and we are on the phone weekly, like talking over FaceTime with our mom and dad who are, those previous health conditions over 70, like the target that this virus is attacking, so we just want to make sure that they're okay. And we're checking in with each other more often throughout this thing. So I'm thankful that we're able to do that virtually.
Honest to goodness, I've told a few people this lately. I actually feel more connected to people both in my circle, people that I know in person, people that I know online, just because of what you're talking about right there. The fact that we are intentionally taking that time out to check on people, to call our parents, call our grandparents, call our girlfriends. Like, I had a girlfriend last week call and she's like, I just need to talk. And we sat on the phone for an hour and 10 minutes. We have never had a phone conversation before that day, ever.
Well, and I think too, it's like this really makes you reevaluate your life, right? Like you reevaluate all the things that you're doing on a day-to-day basis that are important, that are sustainable, those relationships that you want to continue during this virus and after the virus. Like, you're prioritizing people and your actions too. So I think we're all kind of like shifting our lives to, okay, what's really, really important. It's almost like we've all gone into retirement, right? And we get to pick and choose who we actually hang out with on a day-to-day basis. And we're picking the important people in our life. So if I've reached out to you and we've talked, that means you're one of my people.
Oh, okay. Speaking of day-to-day activity, and then I'm going to get into, other than us just talking and sharing the love for one another, I'm going to get into what we're here to talk about today. But are you doing homeschool, or are you like, we'll get to that later?
Oh no. So we have, my daughter is in 1st grade and my son is in preschool. So I've had to find things for him to do to keep him occupied. Mostly it's t-ball and staying outside and being active. But with my daughter, she does have online curriculum, which has kind of been like loosey goosey, but I've pretended like she has to show up every day or she's going to get a tardy slip. Right. And I've pretended like her grades are going to count. Otherwise, she's not going to pass the first grade. And so next week is when we got like, I got a message this week saying next week is when it really starts counting. And so I'm glad that I've been very vigilant on keeping her on track, because she thinks that, if she doesn't show up for the day, she's getting, a fail for the year. So the real part of schoolwork starts next week, and that's where the grades are really going to start counting. But I've actually had so much fun. Like, I look forward to it, and I do not have a teaching bone in my body, but I'm going back and sitting down with my daughter, going through these activities. And believe it or not, I have more patience than my husband, which is very interesting, a very interesting trait of mine that I found out through this process. But we're just making the most of it and having a lot of grace for each other. I mean, God bless our sweet teachers, and God bless the moms that are home trying to homeschool. But no, they've got some really great tools that we've been able to utilize through this time.
That's so good. Yeah. I keep telling everyone, do what you got to do to get through this time, man. We're all we'll get through it. We may have a different way of doing things than what we did in the past, but right now, don't stress over any of the small stuff, right? Do what you got to do. Have grace for each other, grace for teachers, grace for the kids, and we're going to be okay. Speaking of a new normal, getting to the way that things are moving, because I don't believe we're going to be able to come out of all of this and continue doing things the same way we've always done things. I really feel like our schedules and our routines have been shaken up in a way that moving forward, I think there are going to be a lot of things done differently than what we did in the past. And one of those is business. I think that you and I both have been front runners in the shift of moving into virtual business and consumer connected marketing. There's a lot of people out there floundering right now and trying to decide what the heck they do at this point and how they pivot at this point. So why don't you tell us a little, because you've said you don't have a teaching background. We know you have a music background. How did you get into this skincare business that you and I are both a part of?
Well, first of all, I hope that we don't go into the future the same way that we did when we went into this virus and being isolated and staying at home. I hope that we do reevaluate our lives and what is important. And, it's so crazy. I recently was like going through my husband's social media, like looking for an old post. And I found one from April 18th, 2017, where he had announced to our networks that it was a big day in our lives because I was retiring from my day job and moving into being a full-time mom, and how excited he was to be able to get more of quote unquote mom at home. And, I reflect back on that time, and man, what an amazing time that was, because I was working full-time. I was, working on a morning show and getting up at 4 a.m., doing a morning show 5 days a week. I was touring with my band on the weekends. And so I was gone from Friday afternoon until like Sunday at noon. And, I was exhausted. I was giving my family crumbs of my soul at the end of the day. And, I think that's what's so beautiful about this time that we're in, is that people are finally able to stop and reevaluate what's really important. And I'm blessed that was able, because of this business, because of that vehicle, that happened to me, 3 years ago, and able to just come home, slow down for a minute, reevaluate my life, and start doing things that really are the most important to me. But yeah, it was because of the freedom that this business gave me. So how I started with this was I saw an opportunity to link arms with world-renowned dermatologists and share what some products that I was already using on my skin, and they were working for me. But again, whether they're working for you or not, they're clinically proven to work. And so I was very comfortable in sharing these products because I knew that they could help benefit people. And if they didn't, it was a money back guarantee, right? And so for me, one thing that I think is so brilliant is when someone said, people during this time of isolation and being quarantined at home, we're still brushing our teeth and we're still washing our face. And I'm so thankful that I recognize that. I started my, global skincare franchise 6 years ago. But I'm glad that I recognized that even back then, because you don't really truly appreciate it and you're not truly thankful until you are in a time like this where people are brushing their teeth and washing their face. And I have a product that that they are able to use during this time. I just think I had no idea that my life was being set up for such a time as this, right? Where who knew that we were all going to be working from home, and I've had the pleasure of being able to do that for the past few years because of this business.
So I want to talk about when you transitioned home, because there are so many people right now trying to figure all of this out. I remember because you and I are good friends and we had been friends for a few years at that point. When you transitioned home, I remember you going through a period where you were like, okay, I'm not really sure because I don't have the same structure or the same schedule. And I don't have to get up at 4 a.m. and be at the radio station anymore, and kind of floating and trying to find meaning. And I'm having conversations with girlfriends right now in the exact same boat that are saying, I was used to going and teaching my workout class and my class giving me feedback. And now I'm not really a great cook. I'm not really a great housekeeper. I'm not sure where I fit in with all of this. You and your husband have done a really great job of not just saying, I had some great success with this company, I'm still seeing success, I'm retired at home, but you took your freedom that you had created for your family and really put purpose behind it, and really found ways to be able to show up and serve the purpose that you're placed on this planet for. So can we talk a little about your social enterprise you have going on, and all the ways that you're able to have the flexibility to really answer God's call at this point?
Yeah, answering God's call. That's exactly what it is. Because in times like this, when you do transition from going, I'm so busy, when someone asks, how are you doing? And you're like, I'm busy, right? Like we wear this busy badge so proudly. And it's not until you finally stop and slow down and you don't have to answer to a schedule that you get really, really quiet. And that's where, if you will direct your attention to what God is trying to tell you, if you will just be still and know that I am God, right? Be still and know that He is God, and really listen to what His purpose for your life is. That's why I feel like this moment in time that we're in is so important, because we're all able to just be still and really listen to God and go, okay, what am I supposed to be doing with this time? And I do feel like that we can fall into those, but I've lost my purpose and my passion has been stripped away from me. Like I recently even talked to my hair girl who does my hair, right? Like she is at home and she is so lost right now because she feels like she can't be around her clients. She can't share her talent. And she feels completely like she's almost going into this deep, dark place of depression because she's been stripped away of her talent that God's given her. And so my direction to her was, girl, be still. You need to be still. And this is your time where God is slowing you down to reevaluate your life, where you can really listen to Him on the direction that your life needs to be moving in. And, and I'm glad that she reached out to me. It was crazy because I really am not ever up past midnight, but for some reason I was up that night when she texted me and was like, I'm so lost right now. I feel so alone. And what do I do? And, I can't share my passion, but again, you can by getting quiet and listening to God. And so I feel like that's what me and my husband did because of the freedom that this business has allowed us to do. We really just got quiet and said, well, what do you want us to do, God? What do you want us to do with our talents where we can not, just point people where we can be successful, but point people towards you that in turn bless us financially, where we can bless those that are in need of what we've been able to give to the world. And so my husband, this business has also freed him up to be able to do ventures that he wants to do, and really share the kingdom of God. And so he started a craft coffee company where he's roasting coffee out of our garage. And so our house smells like coffee beans all the time. But we're able to take that income that comes in, 100% of the income that brings in, we're able to turn around and build Christian schools in Kenya, to places of Kenya that are completely unreached. They've never heard about Jesus. Most of the areas that we work in are Muslim. And so we're able to build schools because when you love on someone's kid, you're loving on them, right? And so that has been able to grab their attention, and then we can really educate them and share the word of Jesus with them. So that's what he's been able to do with his coffee business. So it's been such a blessing to be able to take the freedom that this business has given us and then turn around to share his word.
What's the name of that coffee company?
So it's Pedagogy. You can go to pedagogycoffee.com or find him on any social media. But pedagogy is the Greek word for to teach. And so because we're able to build schools and teach these kids and teach their family the word of God, that's where pedagogy comes from.
I love that. I think it's amazing. I've had the coffee and I happen to think it's rather delicious, and your house smells fantastic all the time, because I think the best smell in the whole world is coffee, fresh roasted coffee.
Well, and coffee beans kill the smell of anything else. So. Yeah.
Oh, that would be good, because right now I'm like, if I never smell the smell of bleach ever again, I feel like I'm going to be fine with that, because
bleach and Lysol and hand sanitizer. I know, girl.
Yes. So then tell me though, aside from we have the coffee company going, and we have the Christian schools going, and the organization that you support over there, they're an amazing organization. Some great friends of yours are on the ground, feet on the ground, serving these people in Kenya. But also you guys have another purpose-driven mission that you've branched out on that has been a really fun journey, and you've been able to expand a little love into your home and a little love out of your home. Can you tell us a little about your journey with fostering?
Yeah. Not only the coffee company, but, we've been able to up our tithing, which has been amazing. We've been able to give to Children's Hunger Fund. There's a boys ranch that we also give to. But yeah, because of the freedom that this has given our schedule, we have been able to become licensed foster parents. And so we have had 3 foster babies come into our home, whether it's 2 weeks or 2 months or 9 months. We've been able to come, bring babies into our home and love on them. And it's been such an amazing journey. And, you think foster care, oh my goodness, that's so hard. I think the number one question that I get is, how can you foster? Because I can never love on a baby and then send them away. But, for us, it's really just having the ability to do it, but also, praying for that heart, God, let me love this child like yours, right? Because God loves all children, and let me love on this baby like you would want them to be loved on, no matter how long they're in our home. And if we have to say goodbye, protect our hearts and protect the hearts of our children who did not sign up for this journey. But, they're a part of this machine too, right? They're a part of the household, and they are loving on this baby just like we are. So, I think that's the other question is, how can you do this to your kids? How can you, force a child on them and then it gets swept away? But the beautiful thing is that God does protect you. He does protect you through all of it. And it's been an amazing eye-opening journey that we've been on. There's parts of this world that are dark and sinful that we weren't exposed to before we were in foster care. But we've loved every moment of it. So yeah, being foster parents in a foster family has been a blessing that we never ever dreamed that we would be signing up for.
Well, I have to tell you this on when you talk about people saying like, how could you do that to your kids? I grew up very closely with a family that fostered and constantly had foster kids in and out of their home. And one of my very good girlfriends grew up in this home, and she and her biological sister are two of the most giving, loving, open armed, like hands and feet of Jesus that you're ever going to meet, because they grew up in that place of serving and saying, this is our home that we share with those that need a home and those that need to be loved. So don't you worry. Those kids of yours are going to be awesome, awesome mountain movers because of learning at an early age what it's like to very selflessly love the way that Jesus tells us to. So good job on that, Mama.
Well, thanks. Yeah, it's definitely been eye-opening on that end because, we give our kids everything, right? Like they're so privileged, but they do have such a heart to serve others. And I do attribute it to the foster journey that we've taken them on.
Okay. And then one final piece of how you are able to give and bless and love and finance and all the things is a newish journey that you and your husband have been on, because you have an organization, a team that I personally am on in your organization. How many people now, roundabout active consultants, do you have in your organization?
Right around 4,000. So over 6 years, we've had right around 4,000.
Isn't that just crazy?
Business partners?
Isn't that crazy?
It blows my mind, and I'm so honored to be able to lead like such a team of amazing entrepreneurs. And I mean, I've learned more from my leaders than I could have ever taught them. And so, I mean, it's just crazy. You think, wow, there's no way that I could bring anyone in that can run faster or harder, but then all of a sudden someone joins that just blows it out of the water because there's just more tools and arsenal at their fingertips that they're able to do it even faster than I ever did. So it's amazing, and I'm so thankful.
So I think you've done a really great job of this type of business model was not anything I was ever interested in the past. I know you and I both discussed this, where it wasn't something you were into. It wasn't something I was into. And I think from the outside looking in, the one thing that I wish people could take away, the people that are not in business with us, I wish that they could know what type of a community we truly have. And so when we talk about the community that you've built, not only have you built this community of givers and doers and people that are philanthropic and people that are really supporting the bigger things that need to be done in the world. They're making an impact while they're making an income. But at the same time, you and your husband have had it on your heart very much to share with our team this debt management program that you've been doing with this, because you all have been able to be debt free because of this business. Can you share a little about about why that was even on your heart in the first place, to share that with your organization and your team and your networks, and tell us just a little about how that's been for you?
Yeah, I think like I never saw myself, joining any kind of a company that was in this channel, but this company impressed me so much with the credibility of the founders and, all the clinical studies around the products, the fact that we don't have to carry inventory, that everything's ordered online. All of those were, such a great, signs pointing, this is the one. And I've even had people come from other companies and finally find success in this company. But I think me and my husband finally got to this point where, it was something that we were doing in our own lives. Like we were following financial peace and figuring out the debt snowball and figuring out how to leverage extra income to pay down debt. because there is this big, right? Like there's this big, especially in America, this big financial burden of people just get in this huge amount of debt and they don't know how to get out. And marriages, that's the number one thing that people fight over is money, right? And me and my husband, I mean, we rarely fight, and we really attribute that to be taking these steps to become debt free. So we thought, not only can we share this gift of bringing in another income with our team, but what if we also gave them the tools to, like, when you make an extra paycheck, how about you don't spend that on shoes? And how about you don't spend that on handbags and living outside of your means? What if first you used this income to pay down all of your debt and to be able to bless others that need your blessings above anything else? And so, yeah, that's been our new mission. I mean, I changed the whole name of our team and everything, and have given inside training as far as how to pay down debt and the step-by-steps on how to do that, because, I just don't want people to come into this business to make some extra income and then find themselves in a deep, dark hole because of extra income. I want them to have extra income to be able to free their family. And so, yeah, so our team name is Blessings Breakthrough. And I'm excited about the direction that it's going, especially in times like these where, because our whole training is based around pay down your debt and then have 3 to 6 months of emergency fund. Like, we're all living off of our emergency fund right now, so I'm glad that we were able to give those tools prior to, the state that we're in as far as, an emergency situation goes.
I love that. I love that direction. I have so many people within my team that are so excited about it. And I know they've been following along and they've been truly blessed by that. And just think, it all, like 4,000 people, you said yes to this opportunity. And then 4,000 people have been able to say yes because you said yes. And would they have said yes otherwise? I don't know, but they wouldn't have this type of a community and this type of leadership that they have. So I'm grateful for that. I'm personally going to go ahead and say thank you for saying yes.
Well, thank you. And there's been so many people that have reached out and said, I'm so glad that you put us on the right track, a year ago, 6 months ago, 3 months ago, because, we would be in a totally different situation right now in this state that we're in if it weren't for the track that you and your husband put us on.
So what is the one thing for people that are, because there is so much unknown right now, and because there are people trying to do business in a different way than they've ever done it before, and people that are facing unemployment and layoffs and loss of income, and they're fearful and afraid and they don't know what to do or how to do it, what is the one thing that you want that person sitting at home right now to know about this business or this opportunity?
Well, I said it earlier, but again, I would say evaluate your life right now. Evaluate, what am I going to continue to do when I get out of the isolation, the quarantine? What am I going to continue to do? But also, what am I going to stop doing? What am I going to stop doing that is not currently working? What am I going to stop doing that is not serving me and my family, especially during times like this? And I hope that you will take a good hard look at your life, at your portfolio, at the time that you're putting towards things that probably don't really matter as much after we have a whole new set of eyes right now, right? And so I would just say, what is not serving you? And there's no reason that you need to go back in to your day-to-day and go through that same rat race where you give your family crumbs at the end of the day, where there is a vehicle, there's a gift that we hold that we can share with you and we can mentor you through, and we can hold your hand and run as fast or slow as you want us to, and be able to navigate your future moving forward that's going to carry you through times like this, because we all think that it's all going to be roses. We all think it's all going to be the exact same as it is today. But the fact is that's not true. So I would just say, look at your life in 10 years. Where do you want to be? And what kind of legacy do you want to leave behind for your family, your kids' family, your grandbabies? How do you want to set them up? And how is the current situation that you're in serving you and setting your family up for this legacy that you're going to leave behind? I would say it's time to take a good hard look and reevaluate.
Man, I love you, Charla Barrett.
I love you, Brandy, both.
Oh,
Love you to pieces. Let's get belly to belly. I can't wait to drink too much coffee or too much wine on the other side of this.
Hey, either way, I am here for it. I cannot wait to talk to you later. Thanks so much for hanging out with us today.
All right. Love you lots.
Oh man, you guys, my favorite part about this show is the amazing women that I get to meet every single week. I love hearing their stories, and I love bringing their stories to you guys. I certainly hope that you're inspired to go out and lead your own purpose-filled lives after listening to these guests week in and week out. If you are inspired by something you've heard in this show, can I ask a favor? Can you go please write a review? Make sure you're subscribed to the podcast. Give us a rating. We'll take 5 stars if you're feeling generous. And then tell all your friends about us so that we can continue to bring you these guests. And by the way, are you hanging out with us on Instagram? Because you should be. It's at @the_power project. Check us out. As always, I hope that you enjoyed this show, and I cannot wait to chat with you next week. But until then, you guys go out and lead your best purpose-filled lives.